Well, good afternoon, and this will be short. I'm perhaps the only speaker, though, to have two members of the Shadow Ministry from South Australia here, to Vicky Chapman and Corey Wingard. It's fantastic to have you here. It's quite exciting. To my old friend Kate Carnell, family friend from Canberra, and to all of the colleagues that I've worked with for many years, sometimes with different forms of relationships in the bus industry, and in particular my thanks to Michael Apps and the Bus Industry Confederation for this invitation. Where are we? This is just a short presentation on the O-Bahn. South Australia and Adelaide have been world leaders in bus rapid transit, and you can see the picture there of the guided railway that the buses use. South Australia and Adelaide is also leading the game, at least in the southern hemisphere, on driverless vehicles, and you may have seen some trials that took place last Saturday in Adelaide. And we're about to do some work within the bus industry as well about some of the technology we have. South Australia is also leading Australia in a significant major reform project on road pricing. And there are many people here in the bus industry who have a huge interest in trying to change the equation. The last public sector monopoly that's not yet been reformed is our road system, and the charges that are applied both to heavy vehicles, buses and the like. I think it's time ripe for a significant change. And in Adelaide, we're also undertaking a very large project about system optimisation, something we're currently calling Operation Moving Traffic, and we have the bus industry working closely with us. As always, there's plenty of room to move. So just a short presentation. O-Bahn, obviously from a German system, has been in operation in Adelaide for decades, and it's the heavy mover of Adelaide's public transport system. Again, originally a discussion around starting to use it on freeways, and decision was taken for a guided, dedicated bus route. The technology provides all sorts of opportunities, but if I can just point to the last 2 points there, it's lower cost than light rail, and it's a modest premium to a bus road system. O-Bahn features you should be able to see in there. It is like a railway. The advantage, of course, it can come off this system and work within the general road system as well. And of course, O-Bahn has been a victim of its own success. Because it's the heavy shifter in Adelaide, we've currently suffering considerable congestion as buses come into the road system at the CBD, and the proposed solution is this video which gentleman down the back might just play for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Does anyone have any questions for Michael after that presentation? Yeah, we've got one at the front here. John, can we get the microphone down here? Thanks.
Mr. Deegan.
Thanks, Michael. That looks terrific. I was interested in how many people will be using that service, say, in the peak hour in the morning or whatever other period of time you might have an estimate for.
Well, we're looking for a substantial increase on the numbers. It does the heavy lifting in Adelaide now. Connecting it into the city, I think, will give us a lot more attraction. It's then an issue of how we connect to each of the major bus stations. Currently, a lot of park and ride facilities are provided. We're looking to integrate that more with both some walking solutions, bicycling solutions, while there's been a lot of debate about the time savings, the real issue will be the reliability improvements. So as we take up to 20 minutes out of the currently not entirely reliable system and have that working to a much more frequent basis, we're expecting significant improvement on the numbers that are currently using. That again, with a couple of other issues, we're talking to the Adelaide City Council about the parking arrangements in the city and how that might work differently. I think will give us a real boost. And there's the target in South Australia to increase its public transports from a low base is quite dramatic. So we're really looking to improve this and also dealing with the rest of our bus network, optimising that, our rail system and the like.
Any other questions? We've got one more. Yep. You've generated a lot of interest.
John Stanley
Yeah.
and Steve Lucas. David Pope promised me you weren't here.
I came just for you, Michael. The question I have, and thanks for your presentation, the question I have is about the future after this, because this is an improvement on what's happening currently with the O-Bahn. There are other corridors that seem to be crying out for similar transport solutions. Have you got any comment about what might be what the future might hold for South Australia and Adelaide in particular?
Sure. Thanks, Stephen. As the only state and city with an integrated land use and transport plan, I think that's a good start. There's a lot more work needed for that integration, and currently the South Australian government is looking to optimise its land use within a 10-kilometre boundary of the immediate city. So I think we'll see a lot of changes there. Currently, South Australia is not in a huge growth period, so we've got some time to plan all of that. But there are other corridors for the freight routes. How do we best manage the freight routes? And then the interaction between freight and buses and the sorts of other options that we have. So there's a lot of work going on that. And then as people here, particularly from Australia, what changes will happen as a consequence of the change in the federal leadership around public transport and funding? So I think all of those things combined, but I think South Australia is well positioned, having an integrated land use and transport plan, now prosecuting that, looking to upgrade and rezone properties in and around bus and rail stations will see a significant change. And we have the community working with us. There's a whole host of activities going on directly with the community. So I think we'll see fairly big improvements. Adelaide's in a position where it can compete against some of the other cities, Melbourne, Sydney, and there's a big effort going into the sorts of work there, and whether we can take some of the technology that many of the people in this room have and others and push South Australia further ahead as a consequence. Thank you.
Okay, please thank Michael for that overview from South Australia. Thank you, Michael.